Hey y'all, Kymology here from the beach. I'm on day 9 of the trip, day 13 without Dooder, and thought I'd do one more video here as I'm at the last days of the trip. And as I was thinking about what to share, what stands out, I was thinking about the finishing. A couple people have said, like, are you ready to go home, or how do you feel being the last days? And it reminds me of something that was part of a conversation that Joey and I had when we were talking about when was it time with Dooder. And he said, oh, there's a really cool bird out this window right now. Squirrel or bird. He said that, we had a lot of back and forth about the when is it time stuff, and one of the things that he considered that he shared with me was that maybe it's when, every time I do this, I think I'm good. Not that this isn't good, I just mean I think that I'm gonna do it without crying. He said, maybe it's when you think that you have gotten everything that there is to get. And he's very familiar with my frameworks, so he knows that I believe in things that seem the opposite of what's norm, and often even radically opposite, meaning, for instance, I don't think it's bad to be selfish. I think there's no such thing as bad selfish. I also say exhaust your desires and pursue your desires, not try not to have desire, which is another thing. I just feel like I'm constantly in an opposite space for a lot of things that seem normal. So he understands that, and I think that's part of where this idea for him came from, which was, I believe that one of the greatest expressions of love is to use something, to use someone. And so he said, maybe it's time when there's nothing left. And I thought it was interesting. And the first thing I thought of when he said that was a relationship that I had that a lot of people said was bad. They even thought it was abusive and a number of other things. And it was definitely hard on me. I wouldn't say that, I would be using good, bad loosely if I said it was bad, because I don't overall categorize it as bad. It's not something that I wish hadn't happened in my life, and it was terrible in a lot of ways. And even when I finally left that relationship, I don't think I ever would have felt towards it there was nothing else to get here. And so in this way, I think Joey was wrong, in the sense that, because I was like, you know what, if I can say that about that relationship, I don't ever feel like I've gotten everything out of a terrible relationship, a lemon, because I thought about how I will often save parts of food when I'm making them. People will, when you're canning, you cut off the parts you're not going to can or whatever, but I'll put that shit in a pile to figure out something else to do with later. Or you cut off the greens for whatever vegetable you're using, and I save it to use it. So it takes a lot for me to ever feel like anything is finished. And paintings came up for me today, because I've been doing tons of paintings, not tons, but I've been doing a lot of paintings as part of this. I said I would do a painting for everyone who's sponsored in any way on this trip, and so I have over 25 paintings. I've had more than 20 people sponsor this trip, and so I think I've done more paintings than I would have if I was just here doing my own thing and not having that intent or commitment to fulfill. So it's been great. I like a lot. I rarely love any of my work, and I do like some of them, and I've really just enjoyed the process. But anyway, about this finished thing, I was like, I've said the same thing about a painting. The painting I recently gave to my mom, it was just at a point that I could stop. It wasn't finished. It could probably never be finished. And the same for the other significant painting that I did this year, which was for my best friend's fundraising event. It was mountains, and it was just a place to stop. It was never I never actually felt finished. And so this morning I was thinking, like, these are my last days. What do I still want to do? What would make this feel complete or finished? And I wonder what it is about me that is it just me, or is this somewhat normal? Does that matter more than I am interested in like what other people's experiences are? But I seem to be a person who rarely to never feels finished. Like, whether it's a painting or how much juice I get out of a lemon, or of a relationship that's good or bad for me, or whatever it is. So that was very illuminating or interesting. And that's where I'm at here towards the end of the trip. Like, I don't know what it would take for me to feel like there's nothing left to get out of this. I mean, I've had thoughts of wanting to live at the beach for years and being here for maybe a longest time that I've ever been at the beach on a trip, and the longest I've ever been alone traveling, I think, maybe. I mean, I've had thoughts about just wanting to stay, meaning like get a job or find a place that I could, anyway. So it's not about not wanting to go home. It's just about enjoying something really drawing for me about being at the beach, being on a coast, maybe. So yeah, thoughts about finishing, and is that strange? And my processing of Dooder I think I mentioned that I did a really big, what felt like a big write for me. And I've done a number of writings, but that one write, I actually haven't gone back to read it. And that's been the case for a lot of what I've been working on before he died and since. And in general, I mean, there's stuff I write all the time that I don't go back to, that I just know is there, that will one day be edited for the book or for something. And the reason I'm mentioning that one particular write was because it was healthy, it was good, I think the idea that I got there or came to there, I'm still not fully landed at, but I think it's probably accurate. And it has been either a background or a foreground thought every day. And I don't think I'm ready to share what that thought was, but I do feel like I will. Something about it doesn't feel ready, so I'll wait for that. And what else? Thoughts about finishing that write. I've really enjoyed doing a lot of art in addition to writing. It's felt like just a creative place. And and the sound. I come to the beach, and the beach to me, when I was growing up, was Myrtle Beach. That's where my mom took us for our family trips. And so beach to me was stuff like that. It was like, what would you call that? Like popular or busy area, very developed area. And then as I got older, I started taking other trips. And then only a few years ago did I finally come to the Outer Banks. I remember seeing OBX stickers on the back of people's cars and wondering what the hell that was and why it seemed to be there, were so popular. But it was only a few years ago that I came to the Outer Banks for the first time. And since then, I've been every year since. And no, that's not true, because I went to Ocracoke years ago, and Ocracoke is Outer Banks. But anyway, I'm slowly getting hip to what's probably unique about this particular area, which is the national seashore or some national park, or just that it's not just beach, it's not just sand and ocean. Here, it's a lot of nature and vegetation and the sound. So that's the biggest thing that I have to share, is that I became hip to the sound. Like, there's a sound, like a park access point, bike rides distance from where I'm at, and I've gone there almost every day since finding it. It took me a few days to go down there and find it, and since then I go down there every sunset. I have gone down there to draw. It's been really windy and chilly at the beach, so a number of times I've gone to the sound. And I just feel like I found the sound. I didn't know that that was a thing. And I really enjoyed that part. And I always have felt some draw to the land or the feel or even driving toward the beach when I would go to the beach. Like that terrain that you would go through, I never knew how to describe it. I think that is the thing last year about like, how do you call this? Is it marsh? What is it? The farm and stuff that's like not even close to the water yet, like that all has a different feel, and I've always felt some kind of draw towards it. And then I read Where the Crawdads Sing the year before last while on a beach trip, and I was like enthralled, and it helped me, or it helped speak to that thing. And then since then I've really felt drawn to that book in general. But while I've been down here, I feel like I'm harnessing my inner Kaya, like I'm out there drawing in the marsh and like it's been good. So last days here, those are some thoughts. People have asked me if it's been a good trip, and it definitely has. It wasn't necessarily what I expected. It was, and in a lot of ways it wasn't in some others. I have felt like I've been working, but work to me I think is different than what it is to most people. So when people have been wishing me R&R and peace and relaxation as part of the R, but that has been a wish that a number of people have been sending my way, and it's not really what I came to do. But that doesn't mean that I'm also not having recuperative energy type time. I mean, I've taken a lot of naps for me, so I guess that would be considered R&R. It's just, I don't know, something about it doesn't resonate, but probably is still the same thing. So wanted to do one more video before I go, and this is what I got. Kymology Exhibit. Ciao for now. Thank you for being here.